Okay, thank you for joining us today. My name is Alicia Ross, and I am here today with the infamous Timothy Hetherington.
Thank you. But you can just call me Tim.
Okay, Tim. So, not only are you a cameraman, a producer, but a war photojournalist as well?
That sounds about right.
Wow, you're like a triple threat over here. So, tell me about your career. Let's start with what companies that you work for. From what I know, there are many.
Well, I have had the honor of working with few more than most. I have worked with clients like the Big Issue London, the Independent London, the British Council, Human Rights Watch, and the Vanity Fair New York. But I am always looking to work with new clients. If you know anyone who may be interested in my work.
Tim, everyone is interested in your work. It's amazing. But I must say that the list of companies that you do have under your belt is impressive. Is this being how you were able to get your images to spread across the world?
Yes, through these companies, but also work that I have worked on my own. I have published magazine photo essays, books, documentaries, as well as some exhibitions. I am constantly working on projects because what I do isn't just a job. In essence, it is my life.
Wow. Would you say that all these things were easier to accomplish because of the era you were in? Yeah, because I believe that back in the day, things weren't like they were now as far as like technology and the advancement and things like that.
I learned photojournalism from Colin Jacobson and Daniel Meadows in 1996. However, my journey didn't really begin until the 21st century. At this time, the world of photojournalism was expanding. They were also being scrutinized for people photoshopping. So when I decided to capture the realism in war without any editing or photoshopping, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But speaking of the war, why be a war photojournalist, excuse me, out of all the options that you could be? I mean, your job seems kind of dangerous. There has to be some type of motivation that would make you do this kind of work.
My motivation was to understand the war, the violence involved, and hopefully, with my work, better the lives of the civilians and soldiers who were involved. Some people are unaware that I am primarily a humanitarian. I have worked for human rights organizations and undertook extensive projects for the US based advocacy group Human Rights Watch. This is a huge part of who I am, which led me to being a war photojournalist.
Interesting, interesting. So, it all makes sense now. So, tell me about the gadgets that you use to capture these amazing images. Like, what type of equipment do you prefer?
When taking photos, I tend to use my DSLR camera. I find that using this camera gives me better resolution, sharpness, and clarity because of the use of its larger sensors to capture the image. All these things are important when I am trying to capture the moment because I want the photo to be so realistic that you can envision yourself there. I imagine that this is a part of what caught people's attention, and I had a hand in the popularity of my photos. Now, when I am recording my documentaries, I prefer to use a Sony C1, mainly for the same reasons. Both the DSLR and Sony C1 give the finished products what I am looking for.
Oh, so that's the secret to capturing the perfect shot. So, would you say that technology had a positive effect on how you carried out your craft?
Oh, absolutely. I could imagine a time in which photojournalists didn't have these cameras. Back in the olden days, people carried 10, 15 pounds in equipment just to capture a shot. The fact that I could take a photo within seconds and then send it out within the week helped me tremendously. This helped get my work out sooner, which helped people in the world see what was going on in the war. Not just hearing about it in a 5-second news click, but seeing it with their own eyes.
Would you say that during your journey you had to face any ethical dilemmas?
It's funny that you've mentioned that. There was one specific time that after publishing a photo in the book of a deceased librarian, and then that of an American. Once I noticed that, my hesitation troubled me. Was I sensitive this time because the soldier wasn't a nameless African? Perhaps I hadn't changed and realized that there should be limits on what is released to the public. I certainly wouldn't have been in that questioning position if I'd ever taken the photograph in the first place, but I did. And perhaps these things are worth thinking about and confronting after all. I found myself from this point on struggling with publishing intimate moments for the world to see as it deemed insensitive to that person's loved ones.
Yeah, I must admit that that's a tough one. But how about biases? Would you say that there were any situations that you found yourself being biased in?
There's always a perceived subjectivity. That Al Jazeera has a point of view, the CNN has a point of view. I'm not advocating citizen journalism necessarily. I think it's a great thing that the wires exist. We need everything. It all adds to the layers of understanding and meaning. I'm about being inclusive. So I guess to sum it up, all the answer is no. No personal biases here. At least that's what I would like to think.
I see. If you had to guess, would you say that your photojournalistic images affected society in any way?
I would like to think so. My mission was to uncover the true violence of the war. I feel as though I did. Think about it. What other time would regular people like you and me be able to see the real devastation that the war has on the world? To hear of a soldier's death and to see it are two different things. I can create images to show you this. Well, not this per se, but the true violence the war brings. If people pay attention to my images, maybe somewhere down the line we can make a change.
Tim, I must admit, after hearing you speak about making a change brings me to my own career path. Yes, I am a TV show personality, but I attend American International College to get my bachelor's in nursing because I have the same passion of making a change. I want to help people not only when they are physically hurt, but emotionally and spiritually as well, to change their lives for the better and the people around them as well. I believe that a little bit of kindness can change the world, and who doesn't want to live in a better world in which we live in today, right? But enough about me. Let's get back to you. So let's investigate some of your iconic photos. I'll just go through them briefly and we can see, what you're thinking and what you were thinking when you took that image. Okay, Tim, so what would you say about this first image?
In this picture, I really tried to capture the natural light that was shining through on the soldiers. I feel like this brought a lighting that a flash wouldn't have been able to achieve. This same light also created contrast between the corners. One being dark and the other being light really helped bring a sense of drama to the image.
Perfect, Tim, that was perfect. So how about this next image?
I'm sure that the first thing you notice is this image is the fact that it's a little out of focus. I did this purposely so that you can feel the distress that the war is having on the soldiers. Feeling fuzzy, confused, and chaotic are just some of the emotions that these soldiers have to face on a daily basis. Then look at the soldier's expression on his face. Again, all his emotions of the war are painted on his face, which is why I am taking the picture in the field of depth in which I did.
Perfect. Okay, next we have this picture, and this one is of a blind man, I believe.
Now this picture is a picture of a civilian who was severely injured as a result of the war. I chose to take this picture in black and white to not distract you from anything else, to focus on the matter at hand, which is also why I chose simplicity in this image. I want people to focus on the pain rather than the colors or objects behind him. I also tried to capture lines to focus on the fact that the man is blind. Behind him, you see a line in the curtain, which is a direct line to his right eye. Same goes for his arm and the angle it leads to your focus to his left eye.
All right, Tim, last photo.
In this image, you can see the helicopter in the background dropping off supplies. This is crucial to the image as you can see how this truly happens in the war. Besides the soldier, you can see the rough texture of the rocks beside him, adding to the intensity of the photo of the soldier taking cover. In order to catch all of this in one shot, I needed to use a faster shutter speed, one that allowed me to catch the helicopter in motion as well as the movement of the soldier as he ran for cover.
Perfect. Wow, thank you for that. These are things that people don't even notice. But unfortunately, we're out of time for today. Tim, it was an honor and a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to your work to come.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Until next time, this is Alicia Ross, and I am signing off. Hello, my name is Alicia Ross, and unfortunately, I come to you today with heartbreaking news. Last week, on April 21st, 2011, the phenomenal war photojournalist Tim Hetherington has passed away doing what he loved the most. If you watch my show, you know that he was a guest here not too long ago. After his passing, a town square in Liberia, where he spent a lot of his time, actually named a town after him. He received multiple awards throughout his career and was undeniably an amazing photojournalist. His work affected the world, and his mission to uncover true violence was marked with his death. I leave you now with quotes from people who loved him and knew him best. A quote from his friend Sebastian Jungler. It reads, "There are a lot of brave war reporters who aren't thinking in particularly complex ways about art. There are a lot of brilliant artists who wouldn't be caught dead in getting a shot. There are plenty of brilliant and brave people who are not particularly compassionate. Tim was truly all three, and it made for an absolutely extraordinary person." Another quote comes from The Guardian. It reads, "The troubled corners of the world into which he shed the light of his lens are brighter because of him. The work he leaves is a candle by which those who chose to look might see." I couldn't agree more. Rest in peace, Tim Hetherington, a true all-around hero.